there is something happening to you right now that you cannot fully explain. You feel it in the way rooms shift when you walk in. You feel it in the way old doors are closing, not with violence, but with a quiet, unmistakable finality, as if the universe itself is rearranging the architecture of your life and whispering, "Not that way anymore." And if you are honest with yourself, truly honest, you have felt this building for a long time. This sense that you were made for something that has not yet fully arrived. This knowing in your bones that the version of you the world has been interacting with is not the final version, not even close. And it is not just the doors closing. It is also the way certain conversations have started to feel hollow, like you are speaking words that no longer belong to you. It is the way certain environments you used to move through without a second thought, now feel like wearing a coat that is 3 sizes too small, uncomfortable, constricting. Wrong in a way you cannot quite articulate but cannot ignore. Something in you has grown past the containers that used to hold you. And that growth, as disorienting as it feels from the inside, is not a problem. It is the signal. It is the first tremor of an emergence that has been building beneath the surface of your life for longer than you know. You have probably tried to explain this feeling to people around you, and you have probably watched their faces go politely blank, or watched them offer you some well-meaning but completely inadequate response that made you feel more alone than before you spoke. Because what is happening to you does not have a clean category in ordinary conversation. It does not fit neatly into the frameworks most people use to understand their lives. And so you have learned, maybe, to keep it to yourself, to carry it quietly, to let it live in the private hours when no one is watching. This enormous, wordless sense that something is coming, that you are on the edge of something vast. You are right. And today, that knowing gets a name. But here is what no one tells you about being chosen. It does not begin with recognition. It begins with erasure. It begins with being unseen, misunderstood, passed over, and placed in rooms where your frequency made no sense to anyone around you. And you thought something was wrong with you. You thought your inability to fit in was a flaw. You thought the loneliness was punishment. You thought the repeated rejection was the universe telling you to shrink, to quiet down, to become less of whatever you were becoming. Think about the specific moments, the times you brought an idea into a room and watched it land with the weight of a feather, ignored, dismissed, or worse, stolen by someone with a louder voice and a more familiar frequency. The times you felt the depth of a connection only to discover the other person was skimming the surface the entire time. The times you knew something, felt it with absolute certainty in the marrow of your being, and then watched the world proceed in the opposite direction, only to arrive eventually at exactly the place you had already seen. You were not wrong in those moments. You were early, and being early, in a world that moves at the speed of consensus, can feel indistinguishable from being wrong. You were wrong to think it was rejection. And today, that misunderstanding ends, because what was actually happening, what has been happening your entire life, is a calibration so precise, so deliberate, so cosmically intentional, that your mind could not have designed it. Every moment you were overlooked was a moment the universe was protecting your energy from environments that would have diluted it. Every closed door was not rejection, it was divine redirection. Every person who failed to see you was not your loss, it was theirs. And the pain you carried from all of that invisibility was not meaningless suffering. It was the pressure that forms diamonds. It was the silence before the most important sound you will ever hear, which is the sound of your own truth, finally arriving in a world that is now ready to receive it. Pause and breathe into that, not as a figure of speech, but as a literal instruction. Take a breath and let that idea move through your body before your mind tries to categorize it. Because the mind will want to debate it. The mind will want to find the exceptions, to point to the evidence that contradicts it, to protect you from the vulnerability of believing something this large about your own life. Let the mind do its work, and also let the body receive what the mind is too defended to accept. Because somewhere beneath the skepticism, somewhere in the part of you that has been holding this knowing quietly for years, something just exhaled. So let that land. Breathe into it. Because this is not motivational language. This is not something designed to make you feel good for 7 minutes and then fade. This is a recognition of a pattern that quantum physics, ancient mysticism, and the deepest layers of consciousness research all point toward. The pattern of the chosen frequency. And if you are still here, if something in these words is resonating at a level deeper than thought, then you already know what I am about to say. You will never be overlooked again. Not because the world has suddenly become more perceptive, but because you are about to become impossible to ignore. Let me explain what I mean by that. And let me take you somewhere most people never go. There is a principle in quantum mechanics called the observer effect. At the subatomic level, particles do not exist in a fixed state until they are observed. Before observation, they exist as probability waves, as potential, as pure possibility spread across multiple states simultaneously. It is only when consciousness turns its attention toward them that they collapse into a single, definite reality. The act of looking creates what is seen. This is not a metaphor borrowed from physics to make a spiritual point sound more credible. This is the literal, experimentally verified behavior of reality at its most fundamental level. Scientists have run this experiment thousands of times under controlled conditions, and the result is always the same. The particle does not choose a state until it is observed. Consciousness is not a passive witness to reality. It is a participant in its creation. The observer and the observed are not separate. They are entangled. They are co-arising. The act of perception is itself an act of creation. Now hold that in your mind and apply it inward. Because what if the same principle operates within you? What if the reason you were overlooked for so long is not because you lacked value, but because you had not yet turned the full power of your own observation toward yourself? What if the world could not see you because you had not yet fully seen yourself? Not the surface version, not the role you play, not the identity you constructed to survive childhood or navigate relationships or function in systems that were never designed for someone like you, but the real you, the you that exists beneath every mask, beneath every adaptation, beneath every carefully curated version you presented to a world that you secretly feared would reject the unfiltered truth of what you are. What if the most powerful act of creation available to you is not building something in the external world, but turning the full, undefended attention of your consciousness toward the truth of what you already are? What if being seen begins with the terrifying, liberating act of seeing yourself? Not with the critical eye that catalogs your failures and measures your distance from some imagined ideal, but with the kind of seeing that a scientist brings to a phenomenon they are genuinely curious about. Neutral, interested, open to what is actually there rather than what they expected to find. If you are ready to take what we have just touched on deeper, listen up. Have you spent years chasing manifestation, visualizing, affirming, raising your vibration, only to watch the same patterns repeat? Every traditional method assumes the same thing, that you are separate from what you want. That separation was never real. You were chasing a signal you were already broadcasting. Beyond the frequencies, a quantum guide to consciousness mastery walks through all 9 frequencies. From the dense transmissions trapping you, through the ascending currents, to the master frequencies where consciousness becomes the field. Every method you tried sent a signal outward. This one tunes the signal you already are. Every day you delay, your nervous system broadcasts the same old signal, and breaking free gets harder. So move on it tonight. The link is in the pinned comment below. Now let us return to the power of that observation turned inward. This is where it gets interesting. Because most people think visibility is about external strategy. They think being seen is about branding, about networking, about saying the right things to the right people at the right time. And yes, on a surface level, those mechanics exist, but they are not the source. They are the shadow of something much deeper. The real source of visibility, the kind of visibility that does not fade, the kind that makes people stop and pay attention without you performing, without you manipulating, without you exhausting yourself trying to be noticed. That kind of visibility comes from one place and one place only. Coherence. When your inner state matches your outer expression. When what you feel matches what you say. When what you believe matches how you move. When the signal you are broadcasting from the deepest layers of your being is clean, unified, and undivided. That is when you become visible in a way that nothing and no one can overlook. Because you are no longer sending a fragmented signal. You are no longer saying yes with your mouth while your energy says no. You are no longer smiling while your field is screaming. You are no longer performing confidence while your nervous system is locked in survival. You are finally, fully, unapologetically coherent. And coherence in the language of physics is the most powerful force in the known universe. If this is already shifting something in you, take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to this channel so you do not miss what comes next. Think about a laser. A laser is just light. The same photons that come from a light bulb, the same basic electromagnetic radiation that fills every room you have ever been in. But a light bulb scatters its photons in every direction. The energy is diffuse, unfocused, weak enough that you can stare directly at it without consequence. A laser takes those same photons and aligns them. Same frequency, same phase, same direction. And suddenly, that diffuse, ignorable light can cut through steel. It can perform surgery. It can measure the distance between the Earth and the Moon with precision down to the millimeter. Nothing about the light changed. The only thing that changed was its coherence. Sit with the enormity of that for a moment, because we are not talking about adding anything. We are not talking about acquiring a new skill, or developing a new capacity, or becoming something you are not. We are talking about alignment. We are talking about taking what is already there and bringing it into phase with itself. The power was always present. The intelligence was always present. The capacity to illuminate, to cut through, to reach across impossible distances with precision and purpose. All of it was always there, waiting, waiting for the moment the scattering stopped and the alignment began. And this is exactly what is happening to you. The energy was always there. The intelligence was always there. The power, the depth, the capacity to move through this world in a way that shifts everything it touches, all of it, was always there. But it was scattered. It was fragmented by trauma, by conditioning, by the thousand small betrayals that taught you it was safer to hide than to shine, by the voices that told you who you should be instead of asking who you already were, by the systems that rewarded your compliance and punished your authenticity, by the relationships that needed you small so they could feel big. All of that fragmented your signal, and a fragmented signal, no matter how powerful the source, is invisible. Not because it lacks energy, but because the energy cancels itself out. One part of you moving forward, while another part pulls back. One part of you reaching for expansion, while another part grips the familiar. One part of you knowing your worth, while another part rehearses every reason you are not enough. Feel into that internal division for a moment. You know exactly what it feels like. The morning you wake up with clarity and conviction, ready to move. And then by afternoon, the doubt has crept back in and you are exactly where you started. The conversation where you feel the truth rising in you like a tide. And then you hear your own voice offering something softer, something safer, something that will not rock the boat, and you watch the moment pass. The opportunity that appears, and the simultaneous surge of excitement, and the immediate contraction of fear, and the way those two forces meet each other and cancel each other out, leaving you motionless, suspended between what you want and what you are afraid of, unable to move in either direction. That internal war is what made you invisible, not to punish you, but because the universe responds to coherence. It responds to clarity. It responds to a signal that is unified, whole, and true. And until that signal clears, the world simply cannot find you. Not because you are hidden, but because you are broadcasting static where there should be music. But here's the thing. The static is clearing. You can feel it. That is why you are here. That is why these words are landing differently than they would have even 6 months ago. Something has shifted. Something is shifting right now in this very moment as you listen. The fragments are beginning to align. The scattered light is beginning to focus. And what is about to emerge from that alignment is something the world around you is completely unprepared for. I want to pause here and ask you something. When did you first feel it? That sense that you were carrying something the world was not ready for? Drop that moment in the comments below because your story might be the exact thing someone else needs to hear right now. Let me take you deeper. There is a concept in field theory that most people never encounter. But once you understand it, you will never see your life the same way again. It is the idea that every conscious being generates a field, not metaphorically, literally. Your heart produces an electromagnetic field that extends several feet beyond your body. It is measurable. It has been measured by the HeartMath Institute and others using magnetometers sensitive enough to detect the field's fluctuations in real time. And what they found is that this field changes based on your internal state. When you are in fear, the field contracts and becomes chaotic. When you are in coherence, in gratitude, in love, in alignment, the field expands and becomes ordered, rhythmic, powerful. And here is what matters. Other people's nervous systems can detect your field. Not consciously, not through the 5 senses, but at a level below thought, below language, below anything the rational mind can process. Their bodies feel your field before their minds form an opinion about you. This is why you have walked into rooms and felt someone's energy before they said a word. This is why certain people make you feel safe without doing anything, and others make you feel uneasy without any logical reason. You are reading fields. Everyone is, all the time. It is the oldest language in the human experience, and it operates beneath every conversation, every interaction, every relationship you have ever had. Think about the most magnetic person you have ever encountered. Not necessarily the most beautiful or the most accomplished or the most conventionally impressive, but the most magnetic. The one whose presence made the room reorganize itself, made conversations shift, made people lean forward without knowing why. What was it about them? If you are honest, it probably was not what they said. It was something beneath what they said. Something that preceded language entirely. A quality of presence. A density of realness. A sense that this person was entirely, completely, without apology occupying themselves. That there was no gap between who they were on the inside and what they were expressing on the outside. That you were in contact with something genuine, and that genuineness was irresistible in a way that no performance could replicate. That was coherence. That was what a fully aligned field feels like from the outside. And the reason it was so magnetic was not because that person was special in some way you are not. It was because coherence is rare. In a world full of people performing, managing, filtering, and fragmenting themselves, a coherent human being is like a clear tone in a room full of noise. Every nervous system in the vicinity turns toward it involuntarily, not because it demands attention, because it is real. And at some level beneath conscious thought, every human being is starving for contact with what is real. So when your field is fragmented, when your internal state is divided against itself, people sense it. They may not know what they are sensing. They may not have the language for it. But something in them registers that your signal is unclear, and they respond accordingly. They overlook you. They underestimate you. They project onto you whatever their own unresolved material dictates, because your field is not strong enough to define the interaction. You become a mirror for other people's assumptions instead of a presence that commands its own recognition. But when your field becomes coherent, everything reverses. And it reverses fast. Because a coherent field does not ask for attention. It commands it. Not through aggression, not through volume, not through dominance, through resonance, through the sheer undeniable power of a human being who is finally, completely, unwaveringly aligned with what they are. This is why the chosen ones go through what they go through. The isolation, the confusion, the dark nights that seem to have no end. The stripping away of everything that is not true. It is not cruelty. It is calibration. It is the universe removing every false layer, every borrowed identity, every inherited belief that does not belong to you, so that what remains is pure signal, so that what remains is you. Not the version of you that was shaped by fear, not the version that was sculpted by other people's expectations, but the original version. The one that existed before the world told you who to be. The one that has been waiting patiently, silently, for exactly this moment. And this is worth pausing on, because the dark nights deserve more than a passing acknowledgement. If you have been through one, you know what I mean. Not ordinary sadness or ordinary confusion, but the kind of darkness that dismantles you. The kind that takes away the things you thought defined you and leaves you standing in a stripped-down, unfamiliar space with no map and no guarantee that anything is going to be okay. The kind that feels, from the inside, like destruction, like failure, like the universe has abandoned you to a silence so complete that you begin to question whether you ever had a direction at all. But here is what the dark night actually is. It is the universe conducting the most precise surgery imaginable. It is removing everything that was never truly yours. The identities you borrowed because they seemed safer than your own. The beliefs you inherited because questioning them felt too dangerous. The relationships you maintained because the loneliness of leaving felt worse than the slow suffocation of staying. The ambitions you chased because they were legible to the world around you, even as something deeper in you knew they were not yours. All of it. Every layer that was not original, every frequency that was not native, gets stripped away in the dark night. And yes, it hurts. Of course it hurts. You are being unmade so that you can be remade more truly. You are being emptied so that you can be filled with what actually belongs to you. And this moment, right here, is the threshold. Pause with that. Feel what is happening in your body as you hear these words. Notice where the energy is moving. Notice what is opening. Notice what is resisting. Because both responses are information. The opening is your truth recognizing itself. The resistance is the last fragments of the old pattern trying to hold on. And both are welcome. Both are part of the process. You do not need to force anything. You do not need to push through the resistance or manufacture the opening. You simply need to be present with what is, because presence itself is the most coherent state a human being can achieve. And in presence, everything that is not aligned with your truth begins to dissolve on its own. This is the secret that the ancient traditions knew, and that modern science is only beginning to confirm. You do not create transformation through effort. You create it through alignment. You do not force the world to see you. You become so fully yourself that the world has no choice but to respond. The effort was never the answer. The striving was never the answer. The performing, the proving, the exhausting hustle to earn your place in rooms that were never meant for you, none of that was the answer. The answer was always coherence. The answer was always truth. The answer was always the terrifying, liberating, world-altering decision to stop being what you were told to be and start being what you are. And I want to be clear about something. This is not about arrogance. This is not about walking into rooms believing you are better than anyone else. The chosen frequency has nothing to do with superiority. It has everything to do with authenticity. The most powerful people in any room are not the loudest or the most dominant. They are the most real. They are the ones whose inner world and outer expression are so perfectly aligned that their presence creates a field of permission for everyone around them. Permission to also be real. Permission to also drop the mask. Permission to also stop performing and start living from the place that matters. That is what you are becoming. Not a person who demands attention, but a person whose coherence generates a gravitational field that pulls the right people, the right opportunities, the right circumstances into your orbit without manipulation, without force, without the exhausting game of trying to make things happen. Let me tell you what this looks like in practice, because understanding the concept is only the beginning. The real transformation happens when you embody it. Think about the last time you were in a situation where you felt unseen. Maybe it was a meeting where your ideas were ignored. Maybe it was a relationship where your needs were invisible. Maybe it was a social setting where you felt like a ghost, present in body but absent in impact. Now I want you to go back to that moment in your mind and ask yourself one honest question. Were you fully coherent in that moment? Were you saying what you actually meant? Were you expressing what you actually felt? Were you showing up as who you actually are? Or were you performing a version of yourself that you thought would be acceptable, palatable, safe? Because here is the uncomfortable truth. Most of the time when we feel invisible, it is not because others are failing to see us. It is because we are failing to show ourselves. We are presenting a filtered, diluted, carefully managed version of our energy, and then wondering why the world responds with filtered, diluted, carefully managed attention. We are whispering and then complaining that no one hears us. We are dimming our own light and then blaming the room for being dark. This is not judgment. This is recognition. And it is the most important recognition you will ever have, because the moment you see this pattern, you are free from it. The moment you understand that your visibility is not determined by external circumstances, but by internal coherence, you hold the key to everything you have been seeking. Tell me in the comments, what is one mask you are finally ready to take off? Name it, because the moment you speak it, you begin to dissolve its power over your field. So how do you become coherent? How do you align the scattered fragments of your signal into the laser-like focus that makes you impossible to overlook? It begins with something so simple that most people dismiss it entirely. It begins with telling the truth. Not the truth about the world, not the truth about politics or philosophy or what you had for breakfast. The truth about what you feel. Right now, in this moment. The truth about what you want. The truth about what you are afraid of. The truth about what you have been pretending not to know. Because every lie you tell, even the small ones, even the polite ones, even the ones you tell yourself, creates a fracture in your field. Every time you say you are fine when you are not, a fracture. Every time you agree with something you do not believe, a fracture. Every time you suppress an impulse that comes from your deepest knowing because you are afraid of how it will be received, a fracture. And those fractures accumulate. They stack. They compound until your field is so riddled with inconsistencies that the world cannot get a clear read on you. And so it does what any system does when it encounters an unclear signal. It ignores it. Telling the truth is not just a moral principle. It is a physics principle. It is the mechanism by which your field becomes coherent. Every truth you speak, every authentic expression you allow, every moment you choose realness over safety, you are aligning another photon. You are bringing another fragment of your scattered light into phase. And the more aligned you become, the more powerful your signal, the more undeniable your presence, the more impossible it becomes for the world to look away. Think about what it actually feels like in the body when you tell a truth you have been holding back. There is a moment of fear first, almost always. A tightening in the chest, a quickening of the breath, the ancient alarm system of the nervous system registering that you are about to do something that feels dangerous. And then, if you speak anyway, if you let the truth move through you and out into the world, something shifts, something releases, something that was held becomes free. And in that freedom, in that moment of authentic expression, your field reorganizes itself around what is real. It becomes, for that moment, coherent. And you can feel it. You can feel the difference between speaking from your truth and speaking from your fear. The body knows. The body always knows. But here is where most people stumble. Because telling the truth is terrifying. It is terrifying because the fragmented self was built for a reason. The masks were constructed for survival. The adaptations were necessary at one point. The child who learned to hide their light did so because showing it was genuinely dangerous in whatever environment they were in. And so the nervous system associated authenticity with threat. It associated visibility with vulnerability. It associated being seen with being hurt. And this is the deep work. This is where the chosen ones earn their frequency. Not in the glamorous moments of recognition, but in the quiet, trembling moments of choosing truth when every cell in your body is screaming to stay hidden. In the moments when you speak what is real and your voice shakes. In the moments when you set a boundary and your stomach drops. In the moments when you walk away from something that looks good on paper but feels wrong in your bones. Those moments, those seemingly small acts of radical honesty, are the moments that rebuild your field from the ground up. And the universe watches those moments with extraordinary attention. Because the universe does not respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you demonstrate you are willing to become. Every time you choose coherence over comfort, you are sending a signal to the field of infinite possibility that says, I am ready. I am ready to be seen. I am ready to be met at the level of my actual frequency. I am ready to stop hiding in rooms that are too small for what I carry. And the field responds. It always responds, not on your timeline, not in the way your mind predicts, but with a precision and intelligence that will leave you breathless when you finally see the full picture. There is a practice here, and it is one of the simplest and most radical things you can do starting today. For the next 7 days, commit to one honest expression per day. Not a massive revelation, not a confrontation, not a burning down of everything carefully constructed. Just one moment per day where you say the true thing instead of the safe thing, where you express the real feeling instead of the managed one, where you allow the authentic response to move through you instead of intercepting it with the filter of what you think you should feel. It does not have to be large. It can be as small as telling someone you are actually not okay when they ask how you are, instead of reflexively saying, fine. It can be as simple as saying, I disagree when you disagree, instead of nodding along to keep the peace. It can be as quiet as allowing yourself to feel what you actually feel in a moment, instead of immediately moving to manage it. One honest expression per day. 7 days, and notice what happens to your field. Notice what changes in the way people respond to you. Notice what shifts in the quality of your presence, because you will feel it. And once you feel the difference between the fragmented self and the coherent self, you will never willingly go back. Let me tell you what begins to happen when your coherence reaches a certain threshold, because this is the part that will confirm everything you have been sensing. First, the wrong people leave, and they leave fast. Relationships that were built on your fragmentation cannot survive your coherence. People who needed you to be small, confused, or dependent will suddenly find reasons to create distance, and it will hurt. It will feel like loss. but it is not loss. It is your field reorganizing itself, pushing out everything that does not match the new signal. Do not chase them. Do not try to explain. Do not shrink yourself back down to fit into connections that were only possible when you were broken. Let them go. What is coming is so much more aligned that you will eventually look back at this moment with nothing but gratitude. Second, synchronicities accelerate. The right people begin appearing without you seeking them. Opportunities emerge from directions you never anticipated. Information you need arrives at the exact moment you need it. Conversations happen that feel orchestrated by something far more intelligent than chance. This is not magic in the way the rational mind defines magic. This is physics. A coherent signal attracts coherent responses. A clear frequency draws matching frequencies. You are not manifesting through wishful thinking. You are manifesting through being, through the sheer gravitational power of a human being in full alignment. Third, and this is the one that surprises people the most, you stop caring about being seen. Not because you have given up, not because you have resigned yourself to invisibility, but because the need to be seen was always a symptom of the fragmentation. It was the scattered self desperately seeking external validation to compensate for the internal incoherence. When you become coherent, the need dissolves. You are so full, so complete, so rooted in your own knowing that the opinions of others become interesting but irrelevant. You appreciate recognition when it comes, but you do not require it. You enjoy connection, but you do not depend on it. You move through the world with a sovereignty that is magnetic precisely because it is not trying to attract anything. And this is the paradox that sits at the heart of everything I am sharing with you today. The moment you stop trying to be seen is the moment you become truly visible. The moment you release the desperate grasping for recognition is the moment recognition finds you in ways you could never have orchestrated. The moment you stop performing your worth is the moment the world falls silent and pays attention, because it has encountered something rare, something real, something it has been starving for without knowing it, a coherent human being. Feel that in your body right now. Feel what those words activate, because this is not something you need to achieve. It is something you need to remember. The coherence is not something you build from scratch. It is something you uncover by removing everything that is not it. Every false belief, every inherited limitation, every story someone else wrote about who you are and what you deserve. Every agreement you made with a version of reality that was never yours to begin with. The chosen ones are not chosen because they are special in the way the ego wants to be special. They are chosen because they chose. They chose truth over comfort. They chose alignment over approval. They chose the terrifying path of becoming fully themselves in a world that rewards conformity at every turn. And that choice made again and again, in the small moments and the large ones, in the private hours when no one is watching, and in the public moments when everything is at stake. That choice is what separates the coherent from the fragmented, the visible from the invisible, the sovereign from the dependent. And you have been making that choice, perhaps without realizing it, perhaps without giving yourself credit for it. Every time you questioned the narrative you were handed, every time you felt that something was off, even when everyone around you seemed fine. Every time you chose solitude over shallow connection. Every time you sat with your pain instead of numbing it. Every time you refused to betray yourself even when the cost was high. Those were not random moments. Those were the moments your coherence was being forged in the fire of your own courage. Give yourself credit for that. Right now. Not as a performance of self-compassion, but as a genuine act of recognition. Because the journey you have been on, the one that looked from the outside like confusion or failure or stagnation, was actually the most demanding and precise training imaginable. You were being shaped for something that required a level of coherence that ordinary circumstances could not produce. The pressure was not arbitrary. The darkness was not random. The isolation was not a mistake. Every element of your path was calibrated to produce exactly the frequency you are now beginning to embody. And the fact that you are still here, still seeking, still willing to go deeper, is evidence that the training worked. So here is what I want you to do, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Right now, in this moment, as these words move through you, close your eyes if you can, and take one breath that is completely honest. Not a deep breath because someone told you to breathe deeply, not a controlled breath designed to calm your nervous system. An honest breath. A breath that reflects exactly where you are right now. If that breath is shaky, let it shake. If it is shallow, let it be shallow. If it catches in your throat, let it catch. Because that honest breath, that single moment of allowing yourself to be exactly as you are without correction or improvement, is the seed of coherence. It is the first photon falling into alignment. It is the beginning of the signal that will change everything. Now, from that place of honesty, I want you to ask yourself one question, and do not answer it with your mind. Answer it with your body. Answer it with the sensation that arises before thought has a chance to intervene. The question is this: what have I been hiding? Not what have I been hiding from others, although that matters too. But what have I been hiding from myself? What truth have I been circling around without landing on? What knowing have I been pushing down because it would require me to change something I am not sure I am ready to change? Sit with that. Let it breathe. Let whatever arises arise without judgment, without analysis, without the need to do anything about it right now. Because the simple act of acknowledging what you have been hiding begins the process of integration. It begins to call the scattered fragments home. It begins to heal the fractures in your field that have been keeping you invisible. And here is what I promise you, not from theory, but from the deepest place of knowing I can access. The thing you are hiding is not the thing that will destroy you. It is the thing that will free you. It is the missing piece of your coherence. It is the part of your signal that has been suppressed, and its suppression is exactly what has been keeping the full power of your presence from landing in the world. The world does not need another polished performance. It does not need another carefully curated image. It does not need another person who has it all figured out. The world needs your truth, your unedited, unfiltered, unapologetic truth. Because your truth, the real one, the one that makes your voice shake and your heart pound, carries a frequency that nothing artificial can replicate. And that frequency is what makes you unforgettable. Let me bring this full circle, because everything I have shared with you today is pointing toward a single, unified understanding. You were never overlooked because you lacked something. You were overlooked because you were carrying something so powerful that it required a period of concealment, like a seed buried in dark soil, like a star forming in the invisible depths of a nebula, like a wave gathering force far out at sea before it becomes visible to anyone on shore. The invisibility was not punishment. It was preparation. It was the universe ensuring that when you finally became visible, you would be ready. Not ready in the way the mind defines ready, with perfect plans and guaranteed outcomes. Ready in the way the soul defines ready, aligned, coherent, true. And that readiness is here. It is not coming. It is not around the corner. It is here, in this breath, in this moment, in the space between these words, where something ancient in you is waking up and recognizing itself. The seed metaphor deserves to be held a little longer because it contains something essential. A seed buried in soil looks from the outside like nothing is happening. Weeks pass. The surface remains undisturbed. Someone who did not know what was buried there might conclude that nothing was ever planted, that the ground is barren, that nothing is coming. But beneath the surface, in the dark and the pressure and the moisture, something is happening that is more complex and more purposeful than anything visible above ground. The seed is dissolving its own outer shell. It is breaking down the protective casing that kept it intact during dormancy. It is sending out the first tentative filaments of root, feeling for water, feeling for stability, establishing the foundation that will eventually support everything that grows above it. All of this happens in the dark. All of this happens in what looks, from the outside, like nothing. And then one day, without announcement, without fanfare, a single green shoot breaks the surface. And from that moment, the growth that was always happening becomes visible to everyone. That is you. That is exactly you. The breaking of the shell, the reaching of the roots, the long, invisible work of establishing the foundation. All of it was happening. All of it was real. And the shoot is breaking the surface now. Consider sharing this with someone who is still in that invisible phase, someone who needs to hear that their concealment is not rejection, but preparation. When you share something that carries this frequency, you create a ripple in the field that reinforces your own coherence while awakening it in another. That single act of passing this forward accelerates the alignment for both of you in ways the mind cannot predict, but the soul immediately recognizes. You will never be overlooked again. Not because you have learned some technique or strategy, not because you have acquired some external credential or advantage, but because you are becoming coherent. Because the scattered light of your being is aligning into a signal so clear, so powerful, so undeniably real that the world will have no choice but to respond. Not with the tepid, conditional recognition you have received in the past, but with the full, deep, reverent acknowledgement of what you actually are. And what you are is not small. What you are is not ordinary. What you are is not the limited story you were told by people who could not see past their own limitations. What you are is a field of consciousness with the power to reshape reality through the simple, radical act of being completely, unapologetically itself. The time for hiding is over. The time for dimming is over. The time for making yourself palatable to people who cannot handle your full frequency is over. You have spent long enough in the cocoon. You have spent long enough in the dark soil. You have spent long enough gathering force in the invisible depths. Now you rise, not with effort, not with force, not with the desperate energy of someone trying to prove their worth, but with the quiet, unstoppable power of something that has finally remembered what it is. like dawn, like tide, like the kind of truth that does not argue for itself because its presence is its own evidence. This is your moment, not because I say so, not because some external authority has granted you permission, but because you can feel it in your chest, in your bones, in the place beneath thought where knowing lives. You can feel that something has shifted. Something is different now. Something that was locked is opening. Something that was dormant is stirring. Something that was waiting is finally ready to move. So move, not away from where you are, but deeper into it. Move into the truth you have been avoiding. Move into the expression you have been suppressing. Move into the version of yourself that terrifies you precisely because it is the most real thing you have ever encountered. Because on the other side of that terror is a freedom so complete that you will wonder how you ever lived without it. And the world will see you, not because you demanded it, not because you performed for it, but because you finally let yourself be seen. You finally dropped the last veil. You finally stopped apologizing for the light that was always yours. This is what it means to be chosen. Not selected by some external force, but revealed through your own willingness to be whole. The chosen ones are not a special category of human. They are any human who chooses coherence over fragmentation, truth over comfort, authenticity over approval again and again, until the choice becomes effortless, until the alignment becomes permanent, until the signal becomes so clear that it rewrites reality itself. You are that human. You have always been that human. And now, finally, the world is about to find out. Take this with you, not as a concept to think about, but as a frequency to live from. Let it settle into your cells. Let it rewire your nervous system. Let it become the baseline from which you operate. Not just today, but tomorrow, and the day after, and every day that follows. Because this is not a one-time revelation. This is a way of being. This is the way you were always meant to move through this world. Coherent, visible, undeniable, free. If these words have stirred something in you, if you can feel the shift happening even now as you sit with what has been shared, then you are exactly where you need to be. Subscribe to this channel because what we explore here is not entertainment. It is activation. Every video is designed to deepen your coherence, to strengthen your signal, to support the emergence of what you are becoming. Leave a comment below with one word, just one word, that captures what you are feeling right now. Not what you think you should feel, what you actually feel. Because that one honest word is an act of coherence. It is you practicing in real time what we have been exploring together. And it adds to the field. It strengthens the signal not just for you, but for everyone who encounters it. You will never be overlooked again. Not because the world changed, because you did. And that changes everything.